On that road to riches, better not lose yourself. You ain't gotta prove it to me, nigga, prove it to yourself. Cause we telling the same story, looking for the same glory. Shots fired off last night, I thank God they won't for me. I know I'm blessed with everything that I be highly favored.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Brooklyn Boxing Podcast. I am joined by Shane Mosley Jr. How's it going? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I watched your last fight, of course, on DAZN. It was a good, solid win. And I know you had a lot of talk around, the fight and wanting to stay busy, obviously, with coronavirus and everything going on. It's difficult to do that. But, right off the bat, I'd love to hear from you in terms of, what you got going on in terms of your schedule. What are you looking to try to do? And are you trying to get a fight in before the end of the year, or what's on the books for you?
So we don't have anything on the books just yet. I'm a fighter, so I would love to fight anytime before the new year. But to be honest, I got to work with my promotional company, and right now they're not having as many fights. I think they have 2 fights like on the books right now, which is, I believe, Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell, and then they have Munguia and Johnson. So, and then, they have a list of other fighters that they have to fight on, their roster. So since I already fought on their first card back from coronavirus, I probably won't be high on that list of guys returning. You know what I mean? Because they still have a whole bunch of lists of guys that are in line like, hey, I want to fight. Hey, you know what I mean? Pick me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all fighters, man. We only, get paid when we fight. So, obviously everybody wants to fight. And so if you have a lot of fighters, like a company like Golden Boy, you got a lot of people to please. So with all that being said, I'm not sure if I'll fight at the end of this year, fingers crossed. But if I do, I'll be excited and super duper happy. But, if I don't, then we hopefully next year we can get things going. And when they have more fights and coronavirus gets moving and, everything like that, you just this is one of those things where you just got to be understanding of the situation and kind of take things as is. But if they call me tomorrow, I'm there. I'll be there.
Yeah, and I imagine you mentioned before the call here that you're living in Vegas and being in the gyms in Vegas. I'd be curious to hear from you. Being around all the other fighters, regardless of the weight division. I'm sure a bunch of guys are really itching to go, as you are, right? I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Waiting,
Absolutely.
right? So how's the training been? And I'm curious, is the sparring stepped up a level in the intensity? Because guys are really trying to, guys are itching to go.
Absolutely. Obviously, sparring's a big part, and everybody wants to be on top of the game just in case they get a call. You know what I mean? Like, just in case they call me tomorrow and say, hey, somebody dropped out, I'm ready. You know what I mean? So of course, everybody's, trying to stay somewhat close to their, where they need to be to get there without burning out, because that's another thing. You can't stay too sharp. If you try to sharpen a thing, a sword or a knife too much, it'll dull. So, and that's with anybody. So you have to be able to stay at a good place so that you're able to be ready when the time comes. But yeah, with all that said, yes, I do agree that there's been a lot of hard training and guys, doing some good sparring.
Well, at the moment, you're staying ready, you're staying sharp. If you had an opportunity to, get a fight before the end of the year, are there any names, you'd like to mention, or any guys kind of on your radar? I know you want to try to crack into, the rankings and get some more buzz around your name. Is there any kind of guys that maybe not you want to call out, but guys that, you have your eye on a little bit?
There's nobody that really stands out in particular, to be honest. I'm just taking it one step at a time. You know what I mean? Like, if it's one of the top guys, cool. If if it's just somebody to keep me busy, cool, like whatever. I'll take whatever. At this point,
Whatever weight class as well. I know. I mean, you've moved around a little bit, right?
yeah. I mean, I've fought 168 before. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Honestly, I mean, if beggars can't be choosers, man. Like right now, like if I was in a position like guys like Ryan Garcia, Canelo Alvarez, okay, you know what I mean. But I'm right now I'm not at that level just yet. I'm not at that level where I can be, hey, I want this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm at a level where I'm like, I got to kind of, take what I can get really. Until I get to that point, then I could be like, hey, I want this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. You know what I mean? But until then, I mean, I gotta, kind of play with where I am.
Definitely. And also obviously curious to hear about a lot of guys that I have on here. I try to get them to tell their story a little bit and their journey into the sport, what brought them into the sport. But I'd love to hear from you and just, your start in boxing, obviously heavily influenced from your dad, right? And a lot of motivation there, but obviously a lot of weight, right? Carrying that name and a lot of expectation, that a lot of superstars kids have to deal with. And I'd just be curious to have you talk about a little bit about that and kind of how you dealt with it and maybe how you use it now to your advantage to push forward.
Yeah, man. So where do I start? I mean, I was getting rolled up in a stroller to the boxing gym ever since I can remember, man. I was been around boxing my whole entire life. Have been to many of my dad's fights, just many fights in general. But I didn't start really wanting to do it for myself until I got about 16 years old, where I would, really one of my buddies who was a big fan of my dad's, like huge, like boxing fan, but he loved my dad. He had asked me to go to Azusa Boxing Club, which is somewhat close to where my house was. And he was being trained by a guy named Zach Padilla, who was a former world champion. And so he asked me one day, hey, man, you want to come down to the gym and spar? And like me, what I mean? Like not even thinking nothing of it. I'm like, yeah, I'll come down with you. I'll mess around, you know what I mean? All right. And so we go down to the gym. We go and spar. I remember that day I had a bloody nose. He got me pretty good. I mean, obviously, we're going back and forth and stuff like that. But he got me pretty good. And next day I was like, I'm coming back. Oh, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm coming back. I'll be there. Like training tomorrow, and then we sparring again the next day. I'm there. So sure enough, that's how it started, man. Just like kind of randomly. And then I told my dad, I'm like, hey, man, like I really like this. You know what I mean? He told me, he said, look, if you're gonna do this for real. But, like don't just say you're gonna do it and not do it, and or like just like mess around. People can really get hurt,
right?
And I'm like, I'm doing it. So
I'm sure his eyes lit up, right, when you told him that.
Not particularly. It was more like tread with caution. You know what I mean? Like it was more on that level. It wasn't more like oh, my son is getting it. It was more like, all right, if you're gonna do this, like be careful. You can get hurt. You know what I mean? Like this is dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, this is dangerous, man. Like, and it ain't all, rainbows and butterflies and shit. It's some real stuff. It's dirty. This game is real dirty. And my grandfather was a big advocate on that too. He's like, hey man, this is a dirty game. This is a real dirty game. This is not, it's not glory. This is more so dirty than anything. And then, you get the, the lights and stuff like that every now and again. But for the most part, this is a dirty game. And, the more and more I got into it, the more and more I saw the dirty, the more and more I saw things that I liked and appreciated and understand in myself. And the more and more I grew as a person and as a man. And where I am today.
Was there an expectation that you had for yourself in terms of you know, the success that you wanted in your career, or were you completely on your own journey in terms of, you know, this is my career? Your dad kept that separate as well.
You know, there's always, you know, some form of expectation with yourself and things like that. But I find that when you have those expectations, especially in a sport that like this one, which is kind of, it's very random. You know what I mean? It's not as structured as other sports. It's not like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, like in, you know, if you do this, 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 and this, you're gonna get here. You know what I mean? Like it's very random.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I learned that the expectations isn't always good, and you just gotta do the work, do the hard work, believe in yourself, and just fight every fight like it's your last. And that's really that's.
How quick was the jump from, you know, you're at a pretty young age when you got in, but not super young, right? I mean, it's not like a lot of guys, you know, get in when they're 8
Right.
years old, whatever. Like, so then you made that jump to the pros. How long after?
I was 23 years old when I turned professional. So
6 years
about,
pro.
yeah, I've been 6 years pro now. But yeah, it was like 5 years or so from when I was an amateur. I had 50 fights, or around 50. And yeah, I thought I was ready to go and ready to, you know, make that transition. And yeah, I feel like I've learned along the way. I don't feel like there was every ever that's like aha moment. I think it's, you're always learning, you're always growing, you're always becoming better, and I think that's the point of being a fighter. You're expressing yourself and who you are as a person in that ring. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what people want to see. They want to see the desire, that they want to see that person in the ring. You know what I mean? They want to see how the greatness of that person and bring it out and show it against another person trying to bring out the best in their self. And that's, you know, what makes fights so great.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot, hopefully, you know, a lot of glory to come for you in the future. I know we're all excited to, you know, watch your next fight, whenever that is, if it's this year or whenever it gets on the books. But you know, you're a pro. You've been a pro now for some time. You obviously seen a lot of guys come and go, and there's some new stars in the middleweight division and some guys that have really, you know, got the spotlight right now. I'd love just to hear a little bit about, you know, kind of your thoughts on the Charlo brothers as fighters, and maybe, you know, if you know, Tony Harrison obviously had a great fight against Charlo. You know, that's your division is hot right now, so I'd be curious to hear, you know, your opinion on some of those top guys, and if you think the Charlos are here to stay, maybe until you get your hands on one of them.
Yeah, man. I think that there's a lot of great talent in the middleweight division. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of talent in boxing right now. Like, right. I mean, to be honest, like, there's just an incredible amount of talent right now.
It really is. Yeah.
So, but in
from
my
the
middleweight division,
too, right? I mean,
yeah, from the bottom all the way up to the top, man. Like, it's pretty great. I think this is one of the greatest times to be a boxer, for real. I mean, I just wish, like, honestly, I wish if the pandemic didn't like hit right now, like, we'd be having like some incredible fights.
But that's the one thing I will say, that in a weird way, I feel like the pandemic has helped combat sports, because,
right,
you know, especially, and the UFC is doing really well, but, you know, the Lomachenko Lopez did huge numbers, I think around 3 million people at the peak. And then we got October 31st is like a crazy date in boxing. There's the ESPN card is Inoue and Michaela Mayer, then Showtime, Davis and Santa Cruz. And then DAZN, you got Chisora and Usyk. So like,
yes. Oh man, yeah.
Fights, man. So it's like
I said, it's like one of the best times to be a boxer right now.
And no one else is like, no one's doing anything. Everyone's hanging out. So it's like, you know, these fights, hopefully I'll get a lot of viewership and fans and stuff like that. But you're so right. There's so much talent from the top to the bottom right now. So
right. But anyways, in the middleweight division, man, there's a lot of great talent. There's a lot of great fights out there. You know, there's Munguia, obviously there's Canelo, there's Andrade,
Dennis Hogan, former podcast guest of mine. Got to give him a shout out.
Yeah. Dennis Hogan. There's the Charlos, Tony Harrison. I'm not sure if he's going up to 160 or if he's staying down at 154. But I mean, obviously, if the money's right, I'm sure he's going where the money's at. There's a lot of great talent out there, man, and obviously some younger guys coming up. I'm sure that they're looking at these guys like, man, I can come get them. Yeah. So there's a lot of great opportunities out there for the middleweight division and for me as a middleweight. Yeah. So I just gotta keep building myself up to get to that point to where I can be in the conversation to be talking with these guys. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the opportunities. I'm excited about all of the great things to unfold. I just got to do my part and get there. I'm not the one to be like talking about, oh yeah, like when I get there, I got to get there first. So I got to do the action of doing what I need to do in order to get there. And then when I'm there, I could say, yeah, this is, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, when I get there, I'm going to do this, that, and the third and that. Nah, let me get there. So my part right now is to do what I need to do to get there to the dance. So that's what I'm doing right now, and training. So when I get a fight, I'm ready to let my name be heard.
For sure. And did Lopez's win? I'm curious. Lopez's win over Lomachenko. Did that give you a little bit of an extra buzz, and just kind of, I'm thinking fighters in general, because they talked a little bit about afterwards that Lopez said, look, I'm 23 years old. I took the big risk. It paid off. Hopefully this motivates other guys to move like how I'm moving and don't worry about their record as much, protecting themselves, things like that. So do you get what I'm trying to say there? You felt like there was a little bit of an energy shot back into the boxing world with that win and it kind of changing a guard there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he most definitely showed how great he was. And I think, he had his shot at the 4 minute mile, you know what I mean? That saying where, like, yeah, if I can do it, you can do it. If I can go at somebody great and beat them and show them that I'm deserving of that, to be here, then you can do that. And absolutely. He most definitely gave me some inspiration. I think he did a great job. He fought his ass off that 12th round. He showed what it was like to be a true champion. I honestly didn't think that he would win. That's my honest opinion. I didn't think that, and he most definitely proved me wrong. You know what I mean? And I can say that as a man, and I'm proud of him. You know what I mean? I'm proud that he was able to show out the doubters, the people that said, oh, you don't got enough experience for this. He showed that he deserves to be where he is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you 100%. Like I'll admit, I took publicly. I said take Lomachenko. I thought, Loma was the favorite for a reason, and not that I thought Lopez, and obviously do now, like he's a tremendous fighter, but I just thought power versus skill can win. But then all of a sudden, it's like, I didn't give enough credit for his boxing ability. I mean, that's what he showed in those earlier rounds, and the work to the body, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Well, so my decision making for why I chose Loma was that he had been through adversity. He had been through all of these things, and he was battle tested at a top level. And, of course, that's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt, because he's shown time in and time again that he was able to rise to the occasion and kind of come back from adversity, being knocked down, being just different things, you know what I mean? Like, and is able to come back and show how great he is. So that was the reason why I gave him that, because I hadn't seen that yet from Lopez. I saw the raw talent. I saw the raw ability. I saw the power, all the things he has, and we saw glimpses of it, but we never saw it at that stage. But when he did, he showed us, no, this wasn't fake. This wasn't just, a glimpse. This is who I am. And that's what the reason why he is great.
Yes, he made his stamp on the division. You know,
He made a stamp in history, man. Like,
history,
I
right.
mean, like history. Like, I mean, he's going to go down to be the only man to legitimately beat Lomachenko, because even everybody who watches the Salido fight goes, yeah, he lost, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Everybody goes, he lost, but you know, he was cheating. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and Lopez
you know,
four belts as well. I mean, I know
exactly.
Devin Haney would have something to say about that, but
And that's a great fight that I would love to see too. I would love to see that fight. That'd be a great fight. Oh man, that's true.
And Davis, I mean, Gervonta Davis and Santa Cruz coming up. I mean, Davis, like, I believe that's at 130. I could be mistaken, but
I think it's 120. Oh, it's a 130, 135. It's like two belts or something like that, right? Or like two divisions.
yes. Well, Santa Cruz is moving up, so I know, you know, it's either 130 or 135. I believe 130, but my point is Davis struggles to make that weight anyway, so he's a guy that could easily fight Tiafimo, I feel like, at 135, or Haney, or Garcia, or, you know, what do you think about Garcia and Luke Campbell?
I think it's a good test for Ryan Garcia. You know, a lot of people think that Ryan Garcia is just, you know, the Instagram guy, but honestly, I think he's the real deal. To be honest, I think he made a good decision to be with a team like Canelo's.
Yeah.
Because Canelo was once in that position. Canelo was once that kid that was coming up, and you know, everybody said, "Oh yeah, he's good," but you know, I think he's just this, you know. But until now, we're talking about Canelo's, you know, the man. So I think he made a good decision in going with them. I think that showed me maturity and growth, and showed that he wanted to really become his own person and his own, champion and things like that. And I think it's a good place for him. And I think he's probably one of the dark horses in that division. Because when you talk about that division, you talk about, Tiafimo, you talk about, Davis and Devin Haney and everybody else. And then you go, oh yeah, Ryan Garcia, you know what I mean? But I think he's going to be the kid that's going to really make his stamp on there. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people and make his stamp. I mean, because I think there's some certain areas where he needs to tighten up his defense or tighten up some fundamentals. But the kid is explosive. The kid is fast.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy that Gervonta Davis knocked out in 9 rounds or something like that. He put out in a minute. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's like really honestly because he just looks like he's like a boy band star.
Right.
And
right.
you kind of just feel like, I don't know how, like you don't want to give him the credit because he doesn't look like a tough, mean guy, but he's fast as hell. I mean, he's good.
I mean, he kind of gives you the Oscar De La Hoya effect. Oscar De La Hoya looked the same way. He looked like, this guy should be a model or something like that. And then he comes out there and kills you. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya was a bad dude. You know what I mean? He was vicious when he was in the ring. And, a lot of people feared him. But he looked like, he's just Oscar De La Hoya. He's just, he playing boxing, or he's just the gold medalist. Yeah, he's just a pretty boy, And so even Floyd Mayweather, that's how they did Floyd Mayweather. Oh, he's just a pretty boy Floyd. Oh, he's defense, all this stuff. Who can beat him? You know what I mean? Who can beat him?
Right.
So, sometimes you need that. And I think that he will legitimately make his stamp on that division. I think he's going to make some noise out there, and I'm rooting for him. Yeah, and I want him to do good. I want all those guys to do good, man. I'm not one of those dudes that's like,
hopefully they all fight each other. That's what.
Absolutely. That's what we want.
If your guy loses, who cares? If they're all fighting each other, it'll be some classic fights. So
exactly. If you eliminate the whole I need to be this perfect thing, then you lose the great fights. And I think that was a testament to Tiafimo. And him saying, look, I don't care who this dude is. I'm going to show them that I'm the best. I don't care if I lose. I'm going to go down trying. I'm going to go down showing that I am the man. And I think hopefully that wakes some of these other kids up to say, hey, I'm going to do it too. Like, I'm going to show you. Yeah, come on. Let's go. let's
sure.
make this happen. Yeah.
And Lomachenko too, like that's the crazy thing for me now is looking at him and like he's kind of in a tough spot because I'd imagine that, you know, a lot of promoters, they're not going to want to put their young star in there with Lomachenko, rush him, you know, into a fight like that because, you know, Loma lost, but he didn't get knocked out or he didn't look, you know, over the hill. It was a close, very, very close fight. So, you know, it's he's not going to get the rematch apparently. I'm sure people are going to be hesitant to go in there with him. It's kind of a weird spot for Lomachenko, and you know you can't discredit him. I mean, he's still one of the best. So,
yeah, absolutely. A side note, I was disgusted by the scorecards.
it was terrible.
Or the ones that were like just like two. One Julie Letterman. Goodness, like, and this isn't the first time that she's ever done this. Like I was like, come on, you making boxing look bad. Like you making this look bad.
Won one round is insane.
Well, okay, look, I agree that you got the right guy. Okay, you got the right guy, but not like that. He didn't win like that, and you can't make that point. And the more and more you do things like that, the more and more people are going to be, or more people are going to be hesitant to be like, yeah, this is some BS, And we don't want that. We want to put on good fights. We want to put on fights that like people go, yeah, they had it right. You know what I mean? We want that. So rather than the other way. And I feel like the more and more judges like her do things like that, the more and more you make boxing look bad. I'm to the point with her. Like I'm like, you need to be 86 for boxing. You know what I mean? The door is that way.
Yeah. If you saw that she was judging one of your fights, I mean, would you allow that to happen, or would you? I mean, I would imagine a lot of fighters, if they're aware that she's going to be my judge, I would say something. I wouldn't want her on the.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would make. I'm not particularly sure how much say you have if you're not a championship fight and certain like things. I'm not sure like how that all plays out. I have to look at the rules, but yeah, I would do my best to tell my people, hey, I don't think it'd be best for me. Well, shoot, depending on what side of the coin I'm on, and I know that sounds bad, but depending on what side of the coin I'm on, if she's on a Golden Boy card and I'm a Golden Boy fighter, it might work out for me. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But I don't know. I probably wouldn't want her judging my fights because I know how.
Yeah,
she judges.
Breaking up a little bit. I don't know if there's a little.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
It just sounded like something was tapping, but it's all
okay.
Good.
Good now?
Yeah, I think it's better now. Perfect.
All right, cool.
One thing I wanted to, ask you about before I let you go is, you mentioned De La Hoya, obviously a legend of the sport. He's talking about fighting again. We on November, I forget the exact date, but coming up soon, we have Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. Some of these, legendary fighters coming back. What are your thoughts? Yeah, what are your thoughts on it? And I guess who do you got?
I mean, I like it. Like to be honest, fight like Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean? Like, do I think that they should be fighting? No. But am I gonna watch it? Hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they should be doing it, but I'm gonna. And I think that a lot of people will watch just to be kind of to be intrigued. Like, oh, what's gonna happen with this? And hopefully, it's not a stinker. Hopefully, it's a good fight and they put on a good show for everybody. But no, I don't think that they should be doing it. Oscar De La Hoya, I'm not sure if that is that he's really.
But I mean,
I don't know. I mean, like in my personal opinion, I think he should probably just stick to promoting. I mean, if he can do it, if he puts out the work and is able to get it done, why not? I mean, one of his business partners, Bernard Hopkins, did it at 50. So why can't he? You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, I don't know.
Maybe that's where he gets the motivation from. But
yeah, maybe Bernard is like, messing with him.
Yeah,
I got it done at 50 years old, man. You step your game up.
Exactly.
But no, I don't think it's a good idea for either of those guys. Especially they got families and things like that, and at an older age, like where he is and where they are. I think that it's probably bad for the health to be taking blows to the head, especially at a top level like Oscar De La Hoya is talking about. He's talking about fighting, the top dogs, which is Charlo's, Munguia, all these guys. I'm not sure if that's the right decision to do. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
No, I hear you. I'm on the same page as you. But Shane, I want to thank you for the time. I really appreciated talking to you. And, I want you to let me know when you got a fight on the books, because I'd love to talk to you, when you're in camp or when that fight is signed. And, I want to be up to date on all Shane Mosley Jr. news and have all the fans follow you. If you want to give a shout out to where they can follow you on Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah, they can follow me on at Shane Mosley Jr. On Instagram. And that's where you can find my information, what I post on, everything.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. And this episode will be dropping real soon. So everyone go follow Shane, follow his career, and appreciate you and appreciate you taking some time to talk.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks.